if you are into Pinterest, I have lots of different like checklists on there or things like you can print out and hang on your refrigerator, or I love to hang things on my bathroom mirror, bedroom mirror, place in the car, just like practices. Like, okay, you're spiraling, you're overthinking. Like, what can I do to stop it right now? Um, and then using things like Instagram, which is one of my newer ventures to reach people, YouTube. And I have a free 7-day protocol that helps you reset your nervous system, which is a PDF. Um, and then I have a 14-day nervous system reset protocol, which is super cool. It's accessible for pretty much anybody. Super simple things that you can do for 14 days to help nourish your nervous system so you can kind of reset the mind, body, and soul.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Truth That Heals podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Anthony Hernandez, and today I'm with special guest. I'm here with Kassandra from the Calm Lab. She is a nervous system educator. Welcome to the podcast, Kassandra. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm a little bit sick, just a little bit. I'm still getting better. But what always cheers me up is to be back on the podcast. So thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
So what's exciting is just seeing that there's so much about you that I've learned through your website, through threads, and you're very active. You have YouTube and you have a lot of things going on, but you also have a podcast, and that's also called the Calm Lab, correct?
Yes.
Before we even really dive into your story, can you share us a bit about what the Calm Lab actually is?
The Calm Lab is a place where people can feel peace, contentment, not about being overly excited and happy all the time, but really just finding a place within yourself where you just feel like this is it. I'm here. I have arrived. Um, and so I'm using many platforms, YouTube. I'm now on Pinterest, which is actually a super exciting venture for me, but just helping people feel and be their best feeling selves. And that looks different for everyone. And, I have for many years been trying to figure out like, what is the best way to do this? And I finally landed on it really is about nervous system regulation. So you can really be in your body, feel your true self versus just kind of like all over the place, scattered.
Sorry.
You're fine. Bless you.
Thank you. Um, what does it mean to be calm? And I'm asking because someone might have the idea, or maybe even me, back in the day, might have seen calm as just the lack of action, just being at rest.
Mm.
Um, but what does it mean to be calm to you?
Especially today, I feel in our Western society and many societies, an emphasis is put on just constantly driving yourself into the ground, achieving. I feel like a lot of people I talk to are constantly trying to one up each other with like how busy they are, how full their schedule is, all these places they have to go, and all these things they have to do. And it feels to me like people are missing out on just being present right here, right now, and just figuring out who they are without the job title, without the relationships, as far as like a partner, children, parents, friends. Like, who are you without your house, without your car, without your clothes? Like, what is that essence? Um, in order to get to that, we have to be calm or present, connected, and just right here, right now to sense into that. When we're in our head thinking about all these things, doing all these things, we're not being who we really truly are. Or maybe we don't get a chance to get in touch with our deeper selves. So being calm, being content, just being at peace.
Um, with being calm, well, were you always calm, or like what was life like
I don't
before
think
the
so.
what was the life like before the Calm Lab?
My parents always told me that I beat to my own drum. So calm, I don't know. I'm a middle child, so I feel like I've always been the peacemaker. Um, I used to be a first grade teacher, so I think to be a teacher, one of the things you need is presence and calm. Um, I have a lot of energy. I get super excited about a lot of things. So like that's also not really calm. I I think I noticed this most even before I had children when I was teaching first grade that after actually even being at school, like the children needed some time of day where there was downtime, because think about 5, 6, 7-year-olds, all their energy. There needed to be like bouts of energy, calm, up, down, up, down. And when I would come home from work, I would take a nap like immediately. And I was, early 20s, but it's exhausting to be around all that energy all the time. And so, that was a sense of calm. One when I had my children, I've always been an early bird, so I'd wake up early, work out, practice yoga, meditation before they woke up, so I would find that calm space. But just like I guided my first grade students in finding calm moments during the day, I did the same thing with my children from a very young age. Um, not looking at your phone, not having the TV constantly on, not having the radio or music constantly playing. Like right now, I'm sitting in my sunroom and I just hear the birds. Like it calms me down so quickly. So, finding the balance, I think, is really finding calm is about finding balance.
So even before the Calm Lab, it sounds like you already had your heart directed towards either peace or calmness. You mentioned that when you get home from work, bam, you would be on the couch or whatever, taking your nap.
Mhm.
But and even as you mentioned, as a middle child, you'd be there being like the peacemaker.
Mhm.
Um, why? Like, what's pulled you in that direction?
Hmm.
Because I think as humans, I mean, in general, uh, we just look around. It's the opposite. It's I have to keep on working. I have to keep on working. Or peace. Like, come on. Like, what's that? I have to fight.
I know. I know. The way I feel when I take really good care of myself, when I am calm, when, you know, screens are not on and in my face, when I'm able to just sit here and read a book or just my son was working on a project all night last night and I just sat next to him and read a book. It's I just feel content. I don't even know how else to explain it. I just feel alive and content, but not crazy opposite end of the spectrum. Like, let's be happy all the time. Let's be excited. Let's just, everything is wonderful. Like, not doing that thing, because I think there's a lot of that thing too. But just a sense of like, I'm here, I'm alive. Like, this just, it feels good. I can tell the difference in my body. Um, and even looking at my aura ring data, because I wear an aura ring. And so I get all those biometrics. Like, the days when I have, a lot more time where I'm sitting or walking without listening to a podcast or like talking to a friend, but just being present, listening to the birds. Like my nervous system thanks me for that constantly. And then I feel rejuvenated. Like everyone makes fun of me for going to bed at 9 p.m. But like I tell you what, I feel like $1 million. So
So, okay, so you mentioned just right now, once again, the nervous system, and you are a nervous system educator. Can you tell us about how that journey started?
um I I suppose it probably started from the day I was born, right? And just feeling into like what feels good, what doesn't, what fills my cup, what doesn't. Um, but of course, the moment that really I think was impactful and made a huge um, change in my life is when my husband passed away very suddenly. And um, I knew very quickly. I was, first of all, feeling so much gratitude eventually. Of course, when someone passes away, especially when it's unexpected, you're just completely frozen and you just don't know what to do. But eventually, you know, I gained so much respect for my yoga practice because I learned how much it helped me regulate my nervous system with breathing, with sitting still, with being present, which in turn helped me help my children regulate their nervous systems because that was a humongous traumatic event for them as well, obviously. I I very quickly started um, got a certification in trauma informed yoga. And I thought I could really help people who were grieving, who experienced loss. And I then took a ton of trainings because I just love learning. I'm one of those people who just wants to go to school every day. But I realized the common thread is that we're helping our nervous system restore. Like, we are constantly, most of us, in a state of fight, flight, or freeze, which is the sympathetic branch of the nervous system. Like we're always getting ready to run or to fight, or like nowadays to constantly like fawn on people and like make them feel good and get them on your side. That's a really unhealthy place to be. Um, you want to be in the parasympathetic where you can rest and digest and be calm and just be present without having all these things constantly looping.
Yeah, so you mentioned about yoga, but then also you still wanted to keep on learning. So, other than yoga, are there any other tools that really stand out to you for the healing journey?
Yes, a million. So throw yoga away because a lot of people don't want to do yoga. Like I meet a lot of people who are not into it. That's totally fine. You find your thing. You find your thing that. So one big part is physical body movement. It doesn't have to be yoga. It could just be walking. It could be running. It could be going to the gym. It could be skateboarding. Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. It's the physical body movement. Another huge part is sleep that I already mentioned. Um, for some reason, my mom, her famous quote was, "I'll sleep when I'm dead." And she like ran herself into the ground. I love my mother and she passed at a younger age. I don't know how much of that mindset contributed to that, but sleep you're restoring your entire body. You're giving all the systems in your body time to rest. You're giving yourself time to like rejuvenate and fix and digest and detox. And your mind is off. I mean, I know we're sleeping and dreaming for part of it, but like you're not having all these thoughts going through your head like we are during our waking hours. Um, Sleep, hydration. I mean, some people don't even drink water. Like, that is a huge part of it is drinking water. Um, Cleaning your home of like toxins, paying attention to what you use to clean your home. Like vinegar does the trick. All you need is like vinegar or lemon juice, um, and some water and some elbow grease. There are also tons of fantastic, healthy green products, but like paying attention to that. I don't spray my yard with any chemicals, just any sort of chemicals that are coming in, as well as in your foods, eating things that are organic, eating things that are not highly processed, no food coloring, natural products, trying to cook your meals versus, buying things that are pre-made. Um, I have to harp on microplastics because so many things come in plastics and those, get into our body. Another big thing is social connections. And I'll end on this point because I could talk about all of this forever. Well, I'll say one more thing. But our social connections, just having friends, having family members, like, even if your family members are annoying, like there's a lot of wisdom and love there. Of course, I have to point out some relationships are very toxic, so I wouldn't, encourage those, but positive family relationships, neighbors, friends, um, and then really avoiding things like risky substances, smoking, alcohol, um, drugs, and things like that. So I think, throw yoga out if you don't want to deal with yoga. You don't need to deal with yoga. There's plenty that you can do for your body to help the healing process that has nothing to do with yoga.
Thank you for sharing that. Something that I'm getting is that healing, it's not only through yoga, there's a variety of means. You mentioned some very important things like sleep, drinking water, um, eating healthy, just there's a variety of things. But, as humans, we're made up of mind, body. For me, I believe that we might have a soul. So what I'm like getting is that listening to you, you're also finding tools to help with the mind and with the body, with the soul. From these three, do you have like a favorite one that needs the most love and attention compared to
Mm.
the others, or is it all like one whole system?
I want to answer it two different ways. Um, I, at first I was going to say I feel like the soul, in my belief that we do have a soul. I believe in reincarnation and that we've lived many lives before. Um, and that before we come into this incarnation, we choose our path. Like we're choosing certain things in order to evolve. Um, and so, based on those beliefs and feelings, I'm thinking, our soul is really the only thing that we need to tend to. However, being a human being living in this world, we have our mind to contend with. Even if you're a monk on a mountainside by yourself and you don't have anybody to deal with or any drama, you're still dealing with your mind, and your physical body, of course. And so, you know, having tools like all the things I mentioned, things like breath work, things like making yourself stop or like scheduling in time to take breaks as if, you're scheduling a doctor's appointment. And if you miss it, you're going to have to pay for it anyways. Like, really, whatever it is you need to do for yourself, everybody is different. But all of these are really just tools that help you soothe the soul if you believe in a soul. And if you don't, you know, to feel at peace. Everyone says, I want to feel happy. I don't know that that's what we want to feel is happy. I think we want to feel, from my perspective, balanced, content, calm, at peace, like whatever that means for you. Like, not way up here, not way down here, but just like I'm here, I'm enjoying this lifetime. I'm enjoying myself.
Something I was thinking about right now, listening to you about, that uh, soothing for the soul. And currently, we're also talking about the body, the mind, the body, the soul. And currently, my body is a bit sick. And before we even did this recording, or during our little break, You even mentioned about honey. And I've had honey. I think all of us have. But especially when one is having like a sore throat or is going through sickness, that honey, when it goes down one's throat and into, the body, there's like a soothness that one feels, especially right now for myself.
Mhm.
How does one find something that soothes the soul? Like for you, like what soothes your soul the most?
Mm. Being with my kids, doing nothing. Just like I mentioned, well, I guess reading is doing something, but just sitting next to my son yesterday when he was working, just being present with him. Whenever things get crazy for me or I get overwhelmed or I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's too much going on. I'm rushing, I'm late. Like sitting in the car, feeling my tush in the seat and my feet on the ground and my hands on the steering wheel and just taking a couple of breaths, that's what soothes me because I am now I'm present again. I'm not thinking like, oh my God, Atlanta traffic. I'm about to be late to pick up my kids, which is an everyday thing. Like whatever it is, it just brings me back to like in the grand scheme of things, being late doesn't even matter, really. Like, what's going to happen? My kid is going to have to go to after school for 5 minutes. Like, I don't want him to be disappointed that I'm not there, but like in the grand scheme of things, is rushing, amping up my nervous system, creating anxiety, using my mind to create all these scenarios like, oh my gosh, and then he's going to be thinking like, where's my mom? Like that, none of that is helping me. None of that is soothing any part of me, mind, body, or soul. Sorry. Um, so taking those tiny little micro moments to be present and to breathe, I'm like, okay, worst case scenario is nothing. Worst case scenario is I'm late. Okay.
So has all this work that you've done, this like self-work, has it helped you to have the like a like this wider perspective of life? Because as you're saying, being late, gosh, I hate being late. It can really ruin the day. But I'm hearing from you, um, yeah, it does suck. But at the same time, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that bad. So how has, the Calm Lab helped you in developing this wider vision of life? Because sometimes the crosses that we carry or the struggles, the burdens that we carry, it seems to be too much for us.
Yes. Um, I also want to point out, I have been working on this for like, let's say 20 plus years. So sometimes people will look at me and be like, that is never happening. And I'm like, you should have seen me 20 plus years ago. I was anxious. I had all of these other things that I would worry about. It's not like I was born this way. When my husband passed, that was a very pivotal moment in my life. Like, seeing how quickly you can just go from being here to not being here on this earth anymore. That is what changed it for me. And a lot of, um, I've heard countless stories about, these moments in people's lives that really trigger such a change. And it's usually the worst moment. Like for drug addicts or for alcoholics, it's usually like, I almost died, or I was homeless in a car, or whatever it was. Um, and Eckhart Tolle, who I love, talks about this a lot. Like these very low moments usually trigger something in you. Um, and I mean, it helped me realize like, wow, how precious this life is. Like how lucky I am to be here on this earth right now, and how some people, first of all, don't have that privilege, and second of all, or maybe in bodies um, that are in chronic pain, or minds that are so active that they don't even know what present moment means. Like, how lucky am I that I am experiencing this in this lifetime? Like, it blows my mind. I feel so lucky.
So the cool thing about you is that, you've received so many, um, you've received so much growth and nourishment through the work that you're doing. And the cool thing is that you also share it with others by doing a podcast. And also, I believe you have some sort of programs where you work with people, or what's that?
Hmm. Yes, on my podcast, I think I'm on my third podcast now. I've had three.
Three different
Uh,
podcasts or three different
three different
episodes?
podcasts. The current one is called The Calm Lab, and I'm sticking with it. I'm not changing it anymore. Over the years, I think as I was trying to figure out like what is it that really will serve people? Like, my biggest questions are who am I? Why am I here? And how can I serve? Like what can actually um help people, human beings? And something I'm working on that I haven't even put it out there in the public yet is something called Calm Kids to really help kids who are just really stuck on their devices. But that's in the works. I'm trying to remember your question because I went on a different track. Oh, what do I offer? Um, So, yes, on all the social media platforms, if you are into Pinterest, I have lots of different like checklists on there or things like you can print out and hang on your refrigerator, or I love to hang things on my bathroom mirror, bedroom mirror, place in the car, just like practices. Like, okay, you're spiraling, you're overthinking. Like, what can I do to stop it right now? Um, and then using things like Instagram, which is one of my newer ventures to reach people, YouTube. And I have a free 7-day protocol that helps you reset your nervous system, which is a PDF. Um, and then I have a 14-day nervous system reset protocol, which is super cool. It's accessible for pretty much anybody. Super simple things that you can do for 14 days to help nourish your nervous system so you can kind of reset the mind, body, and soul.
Okay, and where can people go to find this out?
Thecalmlab.org has everything.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And tell us what's it like being on your third podcast?
I love talking, which you probably do too. Um, I also like you. I love hearing people's stories. I think it's fascinating to see how we've all come from different places, but there's something that unites us. Um, you know, I don't know. I like using the platforms to educate people who are interested in feeling at peace or feeling whole. So I love being able to do that through all these different platforms because really a lot of these platforms, as I was telling you before we began, I don't agree with. I don't like them. I don't like what they're doing to society. But the very positive side is, you get to learn all of these things, meet all of these people, and get your work out there because it will help somebody. Like I don't need to help a million people. I just need to help one person. Like that's it. I'm complete.
Well, like the thing that I'm seeing with social media is that there's like three different camps. There's that one camp that does receive the education that they're looking for because they're specifically looking to find pages like yours or maybe even mine.
Mm.
And then you have the other camp that's just brain rot, just scrolling and just scrolling into mindless humor, which is fine, but it becomes a brain rot. And then you have people like me who's like in the middle. Sometimes I want my education, sometimes I want some brain rot. Kind of
Mm.
keep that balance. Um, but yeah, there is a place in social media to find good accounts like yours, Sally. Like I said, I get sometimes pulled into hours and hours of mindlessness.
Yeah.
But when I do encounter those accounts that are offering either educational stuff or even just storytelling, man, it really makes my day a lot better.
It does. I think, with anything, there's balance. I was listening to one of my children's teachers talking yesterday about The whole presentation she was doing was about keeping your kids off of screens for the summer and like giving us as parents, equipping us with ways to keep our kids off of screens. And she was like, I go on social media. I've gotten stuck in holes. Um, and I will justify it by saying like, oh, I'm going to teach the kids about wombats and like then I do the research and find writing prompts. But the point is you set a limit for yourself, like kind of like we were discussing. There's nothing wrong with like I don't condemn social media um or screens in general. You just have to have a limit somewhere and you know yourself best. Like, do you need to set a timer? Do you need to download something on your phone that like shuts the apps down after a certain amount of time? Do you need to ask your spouse or your partner or your children to be like, okay, if you see me sitting here for 10 minutes, like tell me to get up? Like whatever your accountability piece is, find it.
I was just thinking, because I don't do that. I have done it before
Yeah.
in certain ways, but it can sometimes be like for me to think of what do I need to do. Okay, let's say I have a problem. I'm always on my phone, or let's say I'm always opening the fridge. Let's just be more
Mhm.
realistic.
Mhm.
Okay, I have a problem. I have to acknowledge it and to like say to someone who I'm living with or I'm with, hey, if you see me opening the fridge, like call me out or something. 'Cause sometimes
Right.
I'll be opening it. I
For
mean,
nothing.
for nothing, like several
Yeah.
times in the day. I haven't gone to the grocery store. Nothing has been added.
Right.
So I know exactly what's in there. I'm just like there's a delusion that I have that when I open it, I'm just gonna find the rotisserie chicken just perfectly there. But what I'm trying to get to is there has to be like a bit of humility to acknowledge, okay, there's something that I'm struggling with.
Hmm.
I need to tell the person next to me, hey, call me out, or even put a sign there like, don't
Yes.
open me.
You need
It,
friction. You need to put friction between the thoughts and the action. So, like putting a sign on your door, that's some friction, right? That's stopping you. Telling your friend or your partner to tell you to stop, that's some friction. Like, even putting 2 seconds between the thought, I'm going to the fridge. Actually, you might not even have the thought. It might be such a habit that's deeply ingrained in you that you're just doing it and you're like, oh shit, I didn't even realize I was doing that. You know what I'm saying? But at some point, you're going to be able to put enough friction that you're going to be able to stop. And that friction point for people is different. Some people, according to the scientific research, can establish a new habit in 14 days. Some people, it's like 347 days. So we all have different thresholds in different areas of life. Um, so that for you might be like a super high friction point. Like you might need lots of time, but when you have a thought, a compulsion to walk to the fridge, stop for 5 seconds and take a deep breath. And then next time, stop for 10 seconds and take two deep breaths. You know what I'm saying? So you're aware, like check in with yourself. Am I actually hungry? Am I thirsty? Like, am I bored? Like, where did these going to the fridge, where does this compulsion serve me? Like, I learned somewhere that this is going to do something for me. That's why I'm doing it. So, like, exploring that, journaling on it, whatever.
no, when I mentioned the hot seat, when I mentioned the fridge, I was thinking, damn, I just put myself in the hot seat here. But hey, it's
So many
always
people
good.
have that one though. So many people, uh, things just become habits and patterns that then we are reinforcing every single day and they become deeply ingrained in us. You can reverse them. For some, we have to acknowledge though, bless you, that for some people it's easy. And like, so sometimes people who very easily can establish new habits and who can break things very easily because they have lower friction, they make everybody else feel bad about themselves. They're like, oh, well, I took up running in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, so now they're guilting you. That's not what this is about. Like, everyone is different. We need to embrace the beauty in the fact that everyone is different because what a boring world this would be if we were all exactly the same or even that similar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we can always help each other out instead of like kind of comparing or,
Yes, totally.
making someone feel bad for their slow progress. But just the funny thing I was thinking about is that, and it sometimes has been in life like a compulsion. We're not
Mhm.
even thinking about it. But the funny thing is that every time I would open the fridge, I would always hope to find like, because I'm searching. Like I'm just hoping to find like a donut, a
Yeah,
slice of pizza,
yeah.
but it's never like I hope I find a piece of broccoli or
Right.
hey,
Well, you're searching for comfort, right? Like to you, maybe those foods for some reason provide some sense of comfort. So, like, you could always explore what else in your life provides comfort other than those food items. Like, is it a walk? Is it sitting on the couch and doing a puzzle? Like, what feels good?
well, what's helped me is actually, and I think you touched upon this earlier, connection. And me going
Yeah.
out with friends who are like-minded
Yes.
and uh, having that same goal of eating healthier. We'll send each other like salad recipes. I'll send the
Yeah.
recipes, but I haven't done them yet. I mean, I'm
That's
just
okay. That's
yeah,
step one.
that's step
That's step
one, right?
one.
But
Yes.
it's just having these people on my corner, and I feel like the attachment to like certain comfort foods or comfort
Hmm.
behaviors
Hmm.
becomes less of an attachment. I feel like it starts to loosen a bit.
For sure. And there's also an identity associated with that. Like somewhere, even subconsciously, you have an idea of who you are, you know? So, like, you are the person who goes to the fridge and looks for the pizza or whatever it is. You are not the salad eating person. So, like, how do you shift your focus to, like, oh, I could be that guy? Like, that is not very far-fetched. Actually, it's very doable. Actually, I'm going to buy lettuce today, whatever.
Yeah, so during those times, it can be frustrating because
Hmm.
like I said, I'm looking for that specific food. And in that frustration, I'm like, damn it, it's not there, no freaking chocolate bars or whatever. But you are the Calm Lab. What advice would you give to someone like me who I'm on my journey, I'm trying, I keep hitting these walls, and I can easily get pissed off. This ruins my day.
Yeah.
And because my day is getting ruined, because I don't have that ingredient, a part of me is thinking, you know what? For me to be calm, I just need to give in, get in my car,
Hmm.
go to the groceries, and buy those comfort foods.
Hmm.
But I don't think that's the direction I want to go in, and
Right.
I don't think that's the kind of calm that I'm looking for.
Hmm.
So, what advice would you give to someone like me?
I mean, pay attention to the wins. Like, pay attention to the fact that you actually tried to stop yourself. Like, you actually did put some friction there. Like, you acknowledged that healthy eating is maybe a salad over a chocolate bar. Like, you didn't acknowledge any of that stuff. Your body, mind, soul, whatever, just worked really hard to like put some stop signs up for you. Like, thank you, universe, or thank you, self, or whoever, like have some gratitude for those pieces of awareness that actually you do have going on. And then, like, after you acknowledge that, I mean, maybe you do go to the store. Like, you're not beating yourself up. None of us are perfect. The goal is not, I'm assuming your goal, and I'm going to make an assumption here, because most people's goal is just to feel good or whatever good means, to feel healthy, to feel alive, to feel present. So, like, with you wanting to change your eating habits, you see something there at the end of the tunnel that you want to get to. And I'm sure you've made improvements. Like maybe you need to write a list of like, and acknowledge and hang that up on your fridge. Like, I stopped myself here. I'm sending my friends recipes. I'm pinning recipes that look delicious. Like, acknowledge all the wonderful things that have happened and then continue putting friction between you and that action. Eventually, you'll get there.
Now, for you, has there been a period in life where you've put friction that really was hard, but after going through that process, you could look back and say, that made a big difference.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was always a very chubby, overweight child, always. All the way up through like partway through college. I didn't know the difference. Like I grew up in the 90s, like that's when all these fast like ramen noodles, macaroni and cheese, spaghettios, like I ate all that stuff. I don't think my parents knew that they were doing anything wrong per se or like bad. They were just feeding us. Like we ate other foods too, but you know what I'm saying? Like that was a huge friction point for me. I was made fun of for being overweight. Like I hated that feeling. Middle school was awful. And I was like, I just don't want to feel this way. Like, what do I have to do? But I didn't have the knowledge. Of course, we didn't really have the internet and stuff like that then. So I couldn't like nowadays I feel like you can Google anything, but like I didn't understand. I did not make the connection as a child. Like you're eating things that are unhealthy. We were outside playing, so it wasn't like a lack of that. But you know, that really motivated me to be like, okay, wait a minute. Something doesn't feel good here. Being made fun of for the way you look, which is completely unacceptable. But that didn't feel good to me. I just wanted to get on the other side of that. Um, the high school I went to was a very small high school and they wanted me to play soccer. And I was like not a soccer player. But then I started working out. I'm like, oh, and I started noticing I felt better. And that was kind of the beginning of that journey for me. It wasn't about it started out with wanting to look a certain way, just not be overweight is the way I wanted to look. Like I didn't have a picture in my head of wanting a six pack or whatever. I just wanted to feel accepted, right? Um, but that journey took me so many years. Like that was a high friction point for me. Um, Lots of backsliding, which we all do, and tweaking and learning and figuring things out. Because now most people think I'm so extreme. Like I'm vegan, I'm super strict. Like my food is so strict. I don't really eat sugar, natural sugar, but not like so it but that grew over so many years, like 30 years. Think about that. I just know that the way I feel now is freaking phenomenal. Like I don't have aches in my body, you know. I feel content.
Yeah, and you look amazing. I mean, I've seen your
Thank
Instagram. You're out there doing these. I don't know what you're doing, but these movements. I can't even imagine even trying. But as you said, it's taken years for you to get to where you are
Yeah.
today.
And I think the problem too these days is that there's a paralysis that comes with over information. Like there's my dog is dreaming. Um, there is so much information. There's so many workout programs. There's so many things people are telling you, eat this way, do this. I think you almost have to start not with any of that, probably by walking and by adding one healthy thing in a week, maybe eventually subtracting one unhealthy thing. Like start small because that will sustain the change. If you try to like do, 90 minutes of intense exercise a day, which is actually not even healthy for you, but like how sustainable is that? Does that even make sense? Like changing your diet completely from what you're eating, like going cold turkey. I guess some people like doing that, but I don't know that that is super sustainable long term.
So, like for you, I mean, the 90 minutes is, it's quite difficult. But for you, like, what's a sweet spot, especially for a beginner?
Um, I vary my workout. I do different things. I do strength training every other day, which I think most people probably could and should do, different amounts of weights and repetitions and things like that. Um, I highly encourage people to do that. Even if you don't really know what you're doing, you could either go to a gym and just use machines and maybe watch that's how I started in college. I would just like watch people using the machines. I'm like, okay, I see what they're doing. I can mimic that. Of course, there are a million YouTube channels, websites. If you just wanted, like I work out here in my sunroom every single day. I have tons of free weights and bands and things like that. Um, hit training maybe once a week, getting your heart rate really up and then down, short intervals, super short. Like anybody could probably do this. Um, where you're getting your heart rate up for like 30 seconds and then taking a minute and a half break and then do that again. Do it a couple of times, see how you feel. It working out for 90 minutes like something intense, that's not even healthy for your body. You have to recover. Just going outside and walking is all you really need. Maybe a couple of wall push-ups, a couple of free weights, to help with your bones and things like that. And just, the thing that I'm super aware of now that my in-laws and my dad are aging, like you want to have mobility and stability as you age. Like you want to be able to sit on the floor and get back up without somebody helping you. Like you want to be able to carry your groceries into the house. So lifting weights really does help with being able to accomplish those things.
And we're going to be wrapping this up soon, but you're talking about being super aware. And something that I'm learning about you, I'm being aware of, is that you're a super mom because you were there last night reading a book next to your kid, but also you're totally in control, as from what I'm seeing, of your time management. You're finding the right time to do your breathing exercises, your physical workouts, and still spending time with your kids. Sometimes when people work so hard, there's a lack of quality time, but
Yes.
you still show that example. What makes you a super mom?
I mean, I think I wanted children since the day I was born. I was a stay-at-home mom for a long time. Like I just wanted to be with my children. I remember because I had met my husband in college. I was like, let's just get this conversation out of the way. Like I want to stay at home with my kids one day. Like, is that going to be possible? Because it's important to me. My mom did that for a lot of years with us when we were little, and having her present was so important to me. So that carried on. I knew that was going to be so important with my children. I try to only work while my kids are at school. And as soon as they're home, I try not to do any work at all, especially since a lot of my work happens on screens, on social platforms. And a lot of my clients that I work with one-on-one are on Zoom as well. So it's like a lot of screen stuff. So I try to be completely wrapped up with all of that by the time they come home. So I'm not constantly fighting like, oh, I just need to do this one more thing. Like, because that I think it's going to take 5 minutes, it takes 30 minutes. And then I'm like, oh, but then I'll just do this one more thing. And it just very quickly derails. Um, I know, just the preciousness of their lives and me being present with them and how important that is and how they feel heard and it's just it really fills my cup to be with them and to see them and to take breaks and go jump on the trampoline and like it's everything to me. So that I appreciate you saying that and I appreciate that observation more than anything because they are the most important thing to me.
Well, I'm keeping in mind also that at the time of this recording, and I'm not sure when this episode will be ready, but we're in May,
Mhm.
and May is the month of Mother's Day.
Yes.
So as a mother, do you have any tips on for kids out there, for children? We're all children of somebody, but do you have any advice on how they can um, celebrate their mothers this year?
I mean, I think it would depend on the mother's love language because a lot of people receive love different ways. That would actually be a fun activity is to find out what your mother's love language is and then gift her that. So like a lot of people always think like, oh, I need to buy my mom flowers or this gift. But her love language might be quality time. She doesn't care about those things. She just wants you to sit with her and be present and read a book next to each other, or, so I think that would be super fun. But all mothers are so different. But to me, I was telling one of my children last night, we need to think about mom, that's my mother-in-law, and like what we need to do for Mother's Day for her. And we need to think about Alice, our dog, who is like a mother to my children, like what we could do special for her. And my sister, who is like a motherly figure to my children as well. Like, what do we need to do special for them? And my son was like, what about you? I was like, yeah, me too. But I didn't want to say that. But like, you know, my children always make me a card or do a piece of art for me. Like, I don't even need that. Just them being with me. Um, but yes, and if you don't have a mom, a lot of people don't, maybe leaning into Mother Earth and doing something beautiful, in your garden, or if you don't have a lot of space, like you could have a little pot with herbs in the kitchen, or like, maybe a neighbor who is a mother who doesn't have children, or yeah, I don't know, lean into all the moms. Somebody somewhere is a mom.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for sharing all about everything that you've shared about. It's quite a few things, but I've really enjoyed this conversation. And now, as we're coming to a close, I have a question that I ask all of my guests, and that is, Cassandra, what is your truth that heals?
Mm, that the only moment is right now, and that we need to treat the present moment with the reverence and respect that it deserves. And the only way we can do that is by taking care of ourselves first, and, finding our own peace so that we can then spread it out into the world. So, figuring out for yourself what fills your cup so that you can fill the cups of others, because we're all here as a community on this earth.
Thank you so much for sharing your truth that heals and for sharing all about the Calm Lab. Can you remind us one more time where we can find your website and where we can tune into your awesome podcast?
Yes, thank you for having me. I also enjoyed the conversation. It is thecalmlab.org. You will find all my socials, the free nervous system reset protocol, the 14-day nervous system reset video series, all sorts of other things. Reach out to me on Instagram at the Calm Lab with Kassandra, but you can find all of that on my website.
Awesome. So, Cassandra, thank you so much for being a guest here on the
Thank
podcast.
you.
And to the audience, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and have learned a little bit about some tools that we can use to regulate our nervous system. And it was great. It was a great conversation for me all throughout. So thank you for tuning in, everybody. If you would like, please hit that subscribe button, also that like button if you're watching this over on YouTube. If you're listening to this over on a podcast platform, feel free to follow and to even give a rating, as that always helps. And if you want to help me out in other ways, you can do so by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/truth7. All of your contributions help me to keep the podcast going, helps me to get more awesome and amazing guests, such as today with Cassandra, and helps me to pay the bills. So thank you for everybody who's tuned in. And Cassandra, thank you for being here on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Have a good one.